Hey guys, it's Gwen. I'm back with a new video. It's been a minute since I've been on to share any DIY videos. This will be the first for this year 2025. I have a simple Valentine decor idea using these large foam hearts from the Dollar Tree. Now, Dollar Tree carries these every year, but I've had mine since last year. Here are the items that I will be using. Some of these things I ended up not using, like that bow, for instance. And I just picked a couple ribbons to choose from, as well as some shower, or not shower hooks, but they're wooden rings from Dollar Tree, as well as those mason jar rings. I'm also using some varieties of different colored flowers. I took a bunch of different blues and yellows for one of these hearts, and then the other one is more the pinks and creams and yellows for the other heart. So these are the flowers that I've actually had in my stash. I just went through all of the flowers that I had on hand and just created like a grouping of the flowers that I wanted to use for each of these hearts. So essentially I'm going to be creating a heart shaped kissing ball. So they're going to be like hanging floral hearts, hence all the flowers here that I'm cutting up. I'm just cutting these down short enough to where it leaves a little bit of the stem that I'm able to insert into the foam hearts. Originally, I had intended on using hot glue to attach these on, but after experimenting and sticking a few of these picks into the heart, it worked out just fine, and they were able to sit nice and sturdy into the hearts without having to actually use hot glue. Now you will see that I will add some hot glue here and there to some, stray and random pieces of floral petals that may have detached or fallen off from the original flowers. And in those cases, I did use hot glue because they didn't have any of the stems where I was able to stick them into the foam heart. So I had to attach it some way. So that is why I used hot glue. So here I'm just taking my variety of different florals that I cut down from the stems, and I'm not going by any particular order or design or anything like that. I'm just going with the flow, if you will, picking some flowers and sticking them in random areas, just basically trying to avoid putting any of the same color or type of floral right next to each other. You want to create like a good variety where you spread out all of your floral pieces, so that you don't have the same one side by side. It just creates a better visual look, in my opinion. And, it also makes the colors like spread out a little bit more so that you have more of a variation in your floral decoration. So I'm going to just continue on and keep adding to this foam heart. And at some point I did run out of those bigger floral pieces, like the main showpiece. So like those pink ones, like the pink roses and carnations, and the lighter pink roses, those were like the focal point of this foam heart decor. But again, I was using things that I had on hand, and I didn't go out and buy any of these floral pieces new. So I had to work with what I had on hand, and I had to get creative because at some point I did run out of florals. So this is where I had to essentially start spreading out my floral pieces a little bit more. So if I had any bigger pieces that were side by side, I then just spread them apart a little bit. So I was making good use of this space, and any of the sparse areas or blank areas, I went ahead and added these green leaves that came from each of those rose picks. So it's a good idea to always hang on to all of your floral pieces, leaves and whatnot, because you never know when you might need them as fillers. So here is where they came in handy, and I like that they do create a nice contrast to this pink heart decor. It sort of breaks up all of that pink and adds a nice touch of green. So I'm glad I went with that choice. But again, I just used the leaves that came from a couple of those rose rose bouquets or stems, and I just hot glue them on to directly onto the foam heart. Since they didn't have any like pick attached to them where I can insert them by poking them through, that is why I ended up using some hot glue. I then took these really pretty sort of grassy looking florals. These ones I believe came from possibly Walmart, if not Joann's. I don't really remember. I think I've had them since last year. I've used a lot of these florals for a lot of different purposes. Like I've made floral displays and whatnot. And you know, when you take them apart and you change out your decor, you know, I just hang on to the floral stems to repurpose and reuse them for other projects. So that is exactly why I had all of these extra florals on hand. So I'm going to continue cutting pieces of that grassy looking floral piece, and those had to be cut into smaller, shorter pieces, just so that they were easily added or easily able to be added by hot gluing them on. And also I didn't want them to be too tall because I felt like them just peeking out among all of the other pink flowers was a nice touch and broke up all of that pink once again. So I just eyeballed everything and just added green wherever I thought it needed it. So anywhere that there was too much of the pink and not enough green, I just sort of, you know, added where I needed to. And this was a super easy idea and craft to make. And if you have any, you know, extra florals on hand, this is one of those great easy projects that you can definitely utilize those extra stems and florals that you have on hand. And this is just a nice transitional piece. It doesn't just have to be for Valentine's. It can be for spring as well, since all of the florals are nice and pastel and springy looking. And also if you decorate with more like shabby chic type of decor, this also lends well to that type of decorating style, which is right up my alley because I do favor that look. And so I'll probably keep this around for a while and not necessarily have to take it down after Valentine's. So next up, I took this mason jar lid ring. It's like the little ring where you know, that connects to the lid of a jar, mason jar. And I took this because I needed something that was more of a larger size ring. And I took some burlap looking ribbon and just covered that ring up using some hot glue, just, you know, twisting it all around the ring. And then I took this contrasting ribbon in this really pretty sort of like a lacy, it looks like a faux lace design. And I'm creating like a hanger, if you will. So I'm gonna cut the length to the size that I want, you know, as far as I want this decor to hang, or as low as I want it to hang. So this is customizable depending on the reason why you're making a decor like this. So if you needed longer, you can cut your ribbon longer. If you need it to be shorter, you can cut it shorter. So definitely customizable depending on what you're going to use it for, or where you're going to use it for, or where you're going to decorate with it. So I took that long strand of ribbon and used my scissors to punch that push that ribbon down into the foam heart, right into that little divot. And then I added some hot glue for reinforcement. I then took the top part of that ribbon and just folded that over to, folded it over that metal ring, and then hot glued that down into place. And that little circular piece is what will essentially be used to hang it like onto a wall or onto a door or onto a curtain rod. And you will see in the final reveal that I do hang mine off of a curtain rod. Now I can leave it like that, but I needed to display it in some way so that I'm able to take my after pictures and to show you like the end result. Then last thing I did to finish off this DIY was to take a jute twine and then wrap that directly underneath where the ring and the ribbon meet. and then just tied it as tight as I could and then created a simple shoestring bow. Now the reason I did this is not only for decorative reasons, but I felt like it needed to complete that top portion, like to sort of cinch it up and everything and just create like more of a finished look. So that was pretty much for this DIY. I think it came out super pretty. I love it. It's great for spring, like I said, and perfect for Valentine's. And, you know, again, this is super customizable. If you don't like the color pink or any of these super soft pastel colors, you can definitely use whatever colored flowers that you desire to create a beautiful wall decor. So tell me what you think in the comments below if you like this idea and if you would try and recreate this for yourself. Moving right along to DIY number 2, this is essentially going to be a similar style of decor. I'm taking that same foam floral heart, not floral, foam heart from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just using a variety of different colored flowers and different styles of flowers, just repeating the same steps just by cutting down all of the florals from their stems. And again, you'll want to keep all of your leaves that come from each of the bunches just so that you can use them as fillers, as you will see me doing here shortly. And with this second DIY, I will create something just slightly different. Although the concept is the same, you know, I'm taking cut up pieces of florals and inserting them into this foam heart. Instead of making it more of a long hanging piece, I'm going to create a shorter style, you know, ribbon hanger. And you'll see at the end how it looks. It has a different color, as you can see, and a little bit different style. Again, it lends well to the whole shabby chic cottage look, but you know, I add a ribbon that has like a bee theme on it, which I think is super pretty. And again, it's just super perfect for spring. This would also make a great addition to a front door if you didn't want to use a wreath and you just wanted to use this in place of a wreath. That would also make a great decor. And also for like a garden, because of the ribbon that I end up using, I just think that it looks really nice for, you know, really just adding to any space. Since all the steps for this part is essentially the same as the first DIY, I'm going to go ahead and just play some music in the background and let you watch me do this part. Next, it was time to add the ribbon hanger. I'm using this really pretty ribbon from Dollar Tree. They had this out for spring this year, and I think it's super pretty. It has very subtle colors and design with a bumblebee, as well as a little wreath around it. And I'm gonna just go ahead and cut down the length of this ribbon that I needed. Here, I was just sort of trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. So that's while you're seeing me here cut up a strand of the ribbon and then deciding on what I wanted to do next. Because I didn't want the ribbon or the bees to be like facing upside down. So I decided that I was going to first add this ribbon loop, like a hanger, a loop hanger. And I did the same thing as I did with the first by poking down the ribbon into the divot of that heart and then adding hot glue to reinforce it. And then with that other piece of a ribbon that I had cut off, I'm just creating this simple bow using a jute twine to cinch it down the center and connect all the pieces together. There's so many ways of creating a bow. I just do whatever I think is easy for me. And all I did was just dovetail the edges. I then used that same twine that I tied the ribbon pieces together with and then attached that to the larger of that bow hanger, or the ribbon hanger, I should say. So that is it for this DIY. I think it came out super pretty. Here is how it looks displayed on top of my head urn. And with that hanger, I can also hang it up and display it that way. There's just so many ways of displaying these pieces. I hope you guys got some good ideas. Please leave me a comment down below. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content, and follow me for more DIYs. I will catch you in my next one. Thanks for watching.